came back for it. Oh, redfish on the F.R.E.D bomber. What's going on, Salt Strong Nation? It's Matt, and I'm back with a really quick test for you guys. This is going to be an interesting one because I'm kind of interested to see how this turns out. So I've been fishing recently, and I was using the prototype for our F.R.E.D bomber paddle tail. And while fishing with it, I got into a really good bite and I managed to catch a really nice redfish. And then I moved on to catch some really nice trout later on when the sun came up. But when that happened and those trout started really getting into that bomber paddle tail of mine, I ended up breaking it, as you'll see in the footage. And once that bomber was torn, it was pretty much unusable for me for the rest of the day. So I wanted to know if there was a way to fix these lures and if there was a way to do it on the fly, maybe on the water or at home. So I wanted to kind of do some research, see what was out there, and I found a couple options, so I wanted to put them to the test. The two options that I found were Fix a Lure from the Spike It company, as well as Mend It, the other option, which is very popular with some of the other artificial bait companies. This is a highly advertised product to use to fix their bait. So I wanted to kind of put these two to the test and see if there was a difference between one or the other, or if one performed better. So let's go ahead and jump right in, put these two to the test, and see if there's a difference. All right, Salt Strong family, so we're here at the table and I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys. This is kind of the tear that I had in the bomber there. If you can see right there, that's actually what caused that was a trout. As you can see in the footage, I'd been getting into a pretty good trout bite and I'd had these trout just kind of tearing away at this bomber, and they got some pretty good teeth on those trout. As y'all have been able to see, they got some pretty sharp teeth, and those snaggle tooth can kind of just do a number on a bait, just like they have on this F.R.E.D bomber right here. This was the prototype that I was able to use and try out before we were able to have it in the tackle shop. It is in our tackle shop now, available at fishstrong.com, and as you saw in the footage, I was actually able to catch some really nice fish with this. So I actually wanted to try and see if I could fix this lure, to see if I would be able to fix these lures and take them back out on the water if I wanted to in future trips, if they something like this happened to them, or maybe see if I could fix them on the water in a short time span. So what I did was I actually recreated the same kind of tear in this Slam Shady bomber right here. I put a hook through the bait and I just pulled it out the side. That's exactly what I did to create that. I did not cut it with a knife or anything like that. I just put a hook through it and pulled it out the side to try and recreate the tear that was created in the side of this F.R.E.D bomber here. So that's kind of what I was doing, and I'm hoping that I can actually mend these back together. That's the idea anyway. Hopefully I could fix both of these, and we'll just kind of have to see how it goes. I'm sure you're wondering what these are back here. These are going to be a little bit of a Frankenstein experiment. It's all just kind of dependent on whether or not this works or not. So let's just go ahead and dive right on into it. What I'll be using is two different kinds of lure fix-it, I guess if you want to call it. I'll be using the Spike It Fix-A-Lure. That's this version right here. I just picked this up offline, and I'll also be using a bottle of the Mend It. I know that this is used by some other anglers on some other popular brands of lures that are out right now. So we'll just give both of these a try and see what works out best. So I guess we'll start with the Mend It, and we'll put the Mend It on the F.R.E.D bomber. So let's go ahead and jump right in, putting this Mend It on here. All right, so according to the instructions right here, it says press the repair together and place on a flat surface, and after a few minutes it should be as good as new. So we're going to find out whether or not this Mend It will actually work on these baits right here, and whether or not it is actually actually good as new, as advertised or not. As you can see here, I do have a piece of parchment paper up underneath this just to kind of help prevent from making a mess. So let's go ahead and crack this open and see if we can't fix this F.R.E.D bomber. All right, so I got it open, and it does have this brush applicator. That's really convenient because I don't want to get this stuff everywhere. I can tell you, first impression, smells a lot like nail polish remover. But I guess that's kind of what I would expect of something like this, to be really strong smelling. So let's go ahead and apply it to the bait in here. I'm being kind of liberal with it. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but I am using this brushed applicator to kind of make sure that that glue is on all the surfaces that are supposed to be touching and supposed to be together. I feel like I've been pretty liberal with that. Yeah, I can see it kind of seeping out the sides and the corners there of all the different areas that I've put it. If you can see there, I've kind of coated the inside of the bait there, and I got every seam, it appears, to be lined back up right, so the bait should look natural. So we're going to go ahead, and since we got that sitting right, we're going to go ahead and set it here and let it sit for a few minutes so it can kind of take its shape again and that glue can harden up, and we'll see how the Mend It does on the F.R.E.D bomber paddle tail. The next one we are going to do is the Spike It Fix-A-Lure. We'll just be doing this as an alternative to see if one makes a difference or one works better than the other. Okay, so again, we do have the really nice brush applicator that helps me a lot. I often make a mess when doing arts and crafts, and this helps me not make a mess for sure. So again, this also smells just like the last stuff. Can't tell a difference in thickness or viscosity of either one of these from one to the next. They both seem pretty similar, if not the same. So let's go ahead and just get some on the bait. And I can tell you, when I put this on the bait, it looks almost as if it like disintegrates the bait in a way when it first makes contact for a second, but once it seems as if once it's pressed together, it starts to form a seal there, and I guess that's essentially what we're looking for, as long as it holds once it goes back together. So we got the glue all around that section there that was torn, so we'll go ahead and set this to the side on our parchment paper to make sure that it doesn't make a mess, and we'll come back to it to see how it does later on. Now for our Frankenstein lure testing, we'll be gluing together partial bodies of both the Slam Shady bomber and the Gold Digger bomber. So we're just going to mix around and have a little fun here. I'm going to do the Mend It lure on this top option right here with the Gold Digger bomber body and the Slam Shady bomber tail. That's the two I'm going to mix with this lure fixing solution. So we'll go ahead and see how this goes. I'm going to just apply it to that section right there. Again, these sections aren't going to match up perfectly because they are coming from two different lures, so just going to kind of see how it goes and hope for the best. I do want to make sure that the middle sections of those lures do line up though, so that the lure at least appears straight, the body profile would appear straight. So I got that mashed together pretty well, and I'm just going to hold it for a couple minutes to kind of make sure that that stuff can harden up on the two pieces of that together, just so you can get a closer look there. That's what it looks like, and the two pieces did kind of match up fairly well, but I just want to hold on to it to make sure that they kind of take hold. Okay, Salt Strong Nation, we're down to the last one, and we're going to do this with the Fix It lure from Spike It. This will be the last option we're going to do, we're going to go with the Slam Shady Bomber body, and that's going to be the Gold Digger Bomber tail. I think this is going to be a pretty cool combination, just like the rest have been. I'm sure these will no doubt catch some fish, so I'm looking forward to actually getting to try out these Franken lures on the water, if these actually hold together with this glue like they should. So again, I'm going to want to make sure that these bodies are lined up just right. The back is a good indicator of lining them up right. As you can see there, there's a really nice groove on the back side of this bomber profile, so lining those up is pretty easy for me. I just have to match up the grooves on the back of those baits. So I'm just going to keep holding this here, holding the glue in to kind of make sure that it gets a good seal on there. All that glue kind of sets on there really well so that these have a good chance at holding up on each other. Alrighty, so these are the baits that we've created or fixed, and these are the two components that got us there. We have the fix allure from the Spike It company right here. That's what we use for the Slam Shady Bomber and to create the Slam Shady Bomber Franken lure. And we do have the Mend It, and that's what we use to fix the F.R.E.D bomber, as well as create this Gold Digger Franken bomber as well. So we're going to let these sit, and then we're going to come back and check them out and see if the glue worked. Alright, Salt Strong family, so I have let these sit for a while. They have been sitting still and straight on their back. It does say to leave them sitting flat, so that's what I wanted to make sure I did. And so just going over to see how they look now, I can still see the marks where they were torn, but if I bend the bait, it's not splitting. It does seem to have formed back into place and made a seal there. It looks like there might be another place right there that I need to clean up, but let's go ahead and check out this other one to see if the Spike It fix allure worked any better or any different. And truthfully, it looks about the same here. I can't really tell any differences. It looks like I may have got a little bit of the glue inside the belly area there, but I'm not seeing any gaps. I see, I can see the seam where it was torn, but I cannot see any spots that it did not seal up. So it appears that both of these may have worked fine. And just to kind of give these a little tug so you can see it is holding. So those pieces are joined together now. It does appear that I have created a Franken lure with this one. Let's see if the other holds up to the same test. It does appear to hold up to a bit of a stretch test. So it appears that I have managed to glue these pieces together. Just from smelling it, I cannot tell you that I notice any off-putting smell. Nothing outside of the ordinary, really. I can't say I notice anything much different in the smell. So maybe the fish will, but I'm not sure. The only way to know that is to test these out on the water. So that's what we're going to do next. Now, I can tell you from working with those two at the desk, I can't really tell a difference between the two in the finished product. They both seem to hold up really well. Another impression that I can tell you about is cost. The Spike It version is only a ½ ounce of the fluid, and that is at just a slight reduction in price to the full ounce version of the Mend It that comes in the bottle. This is a full ounce, and this is only a couple bucks more than the ½ ounce of the Spike It Fix Allure. So that does make a difference. Price is always something that's important, and I do want to highlight that. So that is something that makes a difference when choosing between these two for you. Definitely would for me. If I'm getting twice the product with one or the other, I would definitely go with what I get twice of if there's no other difference in the way the two products perform. I can tell you I did not notice a way that they performed differently while at the desk. Maybe they do on the water, but that's a different test for a different day. If you guys are interested in seeing that test, be sure to let me know down in the comments section. If you want to see how those lures perform on the water, let me know, and I'll be happy to take them out there and give them a shot to make sure that you don't miss out on any of that. If you aren't already, Be sure to like and subscribe to this video if you're watching it on YouTube, just so that you get more awesome fishing tips just like this one anytime that they are posted. Also, you can go to our fishing tips page at saltstrong.com, where you have access to a whole lot more fishing tips, not just this one, as there is a whole plethora with a search option available to you so that you can find more amazing fishing tips to help you land more fish. And if you want to pick up the F.R.E.D bomber, which was the paddle tail that was absolutely crushing it for me on that day, we do actually now have it available in the tackle shop, so you can pick that up at fishstrong.com. Keep in mind, our insider members do save 20% or more on all of their fishing tackle in our tackle store, so that's a perk of our members. And if you're interested in becoming a member, be sure to check out our pricing page at saltstrong.com. Once again, be sure to leave those questions and comments for me down in the comment section. And if you want to see part 2, be sure to let me know as well. As always, we appreciate you watching, and see you in the next video. And if you're new to Salt Strong, just know that we are the #1 online fishing club in America. We actually guarantee to help you find and catch more fish, save money on tackle, make friends while doing it, or it's free. So we hope to see you in the Salt Strong Insider Club soon, and thanks for watching.